Hey everybody, it's Paul with Vintage Camper Trailers, and we're down here in Hemet, California today at Hemet Valley RV with Steve. And Steve has been a longtime supporter, day one supporter of the hobby and the magazine and everything, which can't say how much we appreciate that. But we're going to take you through the process today and show you the process, not just take you through it, but show you the process if you need new siding for your trailer. So, you know, originally when I started, I was scared to death if a trailer had a dent in it, of how you'd fix that and how you'd find that metal and how you'd source that type of material. And it didn't take me too long to find out the answer, because these guys make it all. And you'll see some of the machines from even back in the day, right? That were doing it back in the day that they still use. And we'll show you how they stamp it and package it and everything to ship it to you wherever you're at. So they provide a lot of the material for the vintage trailer hobby, and we're going to show you from beginning to end just how that looks and how you're going to receive it, the trim that's available, and all that stuff. So stay tuned for the whole thing. Now, the first thing I would guess is measuring a trailer. Is when they call, you're going to need a lot of specific measurements.
We have a form now that we can email to you,
Okay.
and it will ask for 3 pictures. The 3 pictures we want are before you tore it apart. So we see what you started with. And then there's a series of measurements to fill out. And you send me the 3 pictures, and it has a place for your phone number and your zip code. And we calculate it all out. I have a conversation. Do you want to keep it purist, just the way that maybe Shasta did it back in the day? Or do you want to save some money and go with a standard 4-inch run package that we sell 90% of the time?
Okay.
And most of our customers are good with that.
Okay.
Saves somewhere between $700 to $1,000, depending on the coach. So,
Yeah. So I know that that's a great idea with the pictures. I don't even know if I've done that in the past, but I've taken a lot of measurements. So those forms, we can actually make them available, and the folks that are watching can download those and even have those if they haven't gotten hold of you yet. So wasn't really planning on this, but I see right there is all the patterns. Should we take a look at the different patterns that you offer and and take a peek at that real quick?
Yes.
All right. So do you have a most popular or?
Well, for vintage, obviously the 3-inch run or the 4-inch run is the most popular for vintage trailers that we have presses for. But we can do 5- and 6-inch brake all the way up to 14 foot long, because I have a hand brake.
So is a Shasta technically a 5-inch?
Shasta's, it all depends.
It all depends.
Toward into the early 60s, before they went to the Mesa pattern, they were 6-inch brake.
Oh, okay.
And we can produce those if we want to pivot around and
So this is the 14-inch brake?
Yeah. So this is a 14-foot hand brake for sheet metal, and you will not see too many of them that are this long. I special ordered this from a military supply company from the East Coast and had it shipped out here. Most hand brakes are no more than 8 foot, maybe 10 foot at the most. But because we build lower radius skirts for modern day trailers that require some hand brake work, and when we make our radiuses, we make them up to 14 foot long. I needed a 14-foot brake. Well, it also worked out handy for the longer Shastas and stuff like that. I can make up to 14-foot long metal, but I brake every single one. And then obviously there's an additional charge if we have to do that. If we run it through our roll form machines, the pattern is free.
Okay. And we looked at samples there that were painted white. Do you still do polish? Do they still come in colors?
As far as colors go, you can have any color you want as long as it's white. I do have high polish.
Okay.
I do have a couple other colors like colonial white, but they're not in a 48-inch coil. And 99% of the time, if we're doing a vintage trailer, we need a 48-inch coil.
But even if you're painting, it's a good base to start
from
because it's baked on.
It's a polyester gloss white paint job that you can prep and paint no problem.
Okay. Cool.
Okay, so this is what we call our Lazy Susan, and it occupies most of the popular rolls of aluminum that we use. And as you can see, if you want to span over here a little bit, it'll run through this machine and go to the conveyor table, and then we can set the measurement that we want to cut the length on and whack it, and then it hydraulically releases, and it'll run on down to the end of the run, and there is blades down there that will slice it to width. We don't use it too much on the vintage trailers because most of our vintage trailers are 48-inch wide material, but a lot of times on our modern day trailers, we use 14, 16, 18-inch widths. And so we slice a 48-inch coil down to particular widths.
Cool. And then we're going to go stamp some material.
Yes.
We ready for that?
Yes. Okay, so here is our most popular machine that we use for vintage trailers. And it has a 4-inch pattern, and we can do about 15 different patterns through here. But what we do is we drop all of the drums down except the one that makes the 4-inch downward lines. And this is an S-lock machine, so we can run the piece of metal through and put an S-lock on it all at the same time.
But this one machine does all the different patterns. It's just how you set the drums, right?
This machine does 4-inch repeat patterns. That machine does 3-inch repeat patterns. I have another machine that does 3.5-inch repeat patterns that's not very popular.
Okay.
But yes, we have several machines. This machine over here is a Yoder machine that runs Yoder only.
I don't know the Yoder.
Okay.
So.
Believe it or not, there's a lot of Yoder on the 60s and 70s.
Okay, we'll have to see what that is.
Yes.
All right. Well, let's
Okay.
see some metal run here, and run a 3-inch pattern here.
This will be a
This
4-inch.
happens 4-inch. Happens very quickly from my recollection. Yeah. So if you need some 4-inch pleated material, Steve's got a piece here ready for you. So that is just as quick as it is there. And you've got a piece of vintage trailer siding made from completely flat stock bulk material. That's amazing.
And already has the 5/8 G5 S-lock put into it already.
Amazing. That's all there is to it, as long as you have one of these machines here.
So our main business is obviously supplying the repair shops like Camping World and so forth. And this material that we're going to run right here is 31-foot long metal for a Forest River, a 2021 Forest River. And we will box this up and ship this out in a 32-foot long box. And we can make it up to 40, 45 feet long if Here you have a complete sidewall on the side of a Forest River travel trailer. We will get these individually foamed up and put them in a 32-foot box and ship them out on a trucking company.
So on a modern trailer, they just do a little 14-inch pan.
Yes.
I'll be darned.
So as
Haven't worked on
trailers
any of those.
became longer, they realized because of heat expansion, you need to run more S-locks.
Okay.
Back in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, the trailers weren't that long. But when you have a trailer this long, if we were to run a 48 top and a 48 lower, there isn't enough securement points across the field, and you put it out in the sun or you take it down to Palm Springs, and it will look like doo-doo with a big ocean on the side of the trailer.
I have that experience with some trailers.
So this pattern here has got more lines in it per square inch than any other pattern there is. It's called 1-inch custom mesa, and it's the most popular pattern that all the modern day manufacturers
now, is
are
that
using
because
right now.
all of the texture, the breaks, or whatever you call it,
It
gives
adds
strength?
It adds strength and structure to the panel. Yes.
So I know you don't really sell Airstream siding material, but what gauge is this?
This is 024.
Okay.
And that's the majority of what we use is 024. The only time we step up thicker than that for siding purposes is when a person wants it smooth with no pattern or wants the 5 or 6 inch break. We have to go up to 030 because when we're hand breaking 024, it does not come out clean.
Just too
so
fragile.
We have to use the thicker material for that. And then if somebody wants a smooth Shasta roof without pattern in it, we have to use the 030 for that as well. Because if we ran an 024 plain roof, once again, you take it to Palm Springs in the middle of August, and you're going to have an ocean on top of your roof with heat expansion.
So we definitely want to touch on or roof systems. You're doing a one-piece roof now?
No.
No, you do a seamed roof.
Seamed roof.
Can we see the seaming process or what that seam looks like? Because I know that a lot of people, like I was leery of a seam at first in the roof. I thought the only way to go was a flat roof, but the seams actually give it a little bit of structure, and I like them now because they kind of support some structure on the roof.
People that think that seams leak are people that have a 60-year-old trailer that the seam is 60 years old on. A modern day seamed roof, there's butyl that is pressed inside of there, and they're great. I do recommend all my people that are in cold country that their coaches set out during the winter time, that they go up there and they put a small bead of silicone across there and finger it in and replace it every 2 or 3 years. But out here in the West, it's not even necessary.
When you see that seam, I can't imagine how it would ever leak. I mean, the way it's built.
Yes.
I just can't fathom that. So
we will show you a roof seam.
Okay.
All right. In order to build a seamed roof, it requires a cleat, and this cleat has got butyl bead inside of it that when it is compressed down, it seals it 100% and lasts for years and years. In order to be able to make a groove to slide this track in, we have to run it through this machine here that will put a past 90 brake on it all the way around. Are you good?
So this is the seaming process. Oops.
Yeah, and this is just a sample for this video here that we're doing. But
and what do you call that channel that you're sliding in there?
This is a cleat.
Cleat.
And it's filled with butyl. All right. Start this section over. Give me a hammer down here, please. I got it. This is pinched together as part of the problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
We get it. Unless you want Junior to go.
No, I'm good.
Okay.
All right. Roll it.
Can I tell you this, guys? We're going to start over.
Junior, can you hit the power button, please?
So we've got the cleat in now, and now it looks like we're going to press it into place.
Good. And voila, we have a permanent seam that will not come apart. It's filled with butyl, it's sealed. Once again, I would take a little baby bead of white silicone and run down that butt crack and finger it in about every 2 or 3 years, just as a secondary seal. But this is good to go forever.
And that just gives it, to me, tons of rigidity when you're up there on a flimsy old roof. I like having those seams in there for some structure.
And if you're worried about pounding the seams around the corner,
Right.
the aluminum cleat is just as soft aluminum as the siding is, and so it will pound around no problem.
Okay, good to know.
And if you don't mind me stepping in for a second,
Sure.
this is a scrap piece of material. So our actual part we sell that goes in a box to a customer does not. It's a lot more pristine.
Finished, yes,
It doesn't
absolutely.
have that. This, like I said, once again, this is just a scrap piece of material that we're trying to use for both examples. Okay?
Exactly.
And this is almost embarrassing right here compared to our.
Hey, for people that never get to see it, it's to me it's intriguing. So
our craftsmanship, the whole 9 yards, is like this is not our usual game we got going on here.
gotcha,
Okay.
gotcha, no problem.
Yeah.
We also supply J-rail with all of our orders. We call it vintage drip rail. It comes in 16-foot lengths. It is the small stuff that will bend around the radius of the canned ham. Recently, our supplier quit drilling the holes for us, and most of my customers like that better because they would rather drill their own holes. But they come in 16-foot lengths, and most of the time we cut them in half and we make 2 8-foot pieces out of one. If somebody just wants to buy J-rail, because FedEx is so expensive over 8 foot, we cut them down to 94 inches. That way we keep our packaging under 96 inches, and we can ship them affordably in a small package on FedEx ground if that's all you want to do. But we order them 60 pieces at a time. We always have them in stock, and they go into most of my vintage packages.
I think one thing that we didn't mention that we should touch on is people are also welcome to come and pick up their orders.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
because shipping is a factor. I mean,
shipping since COVID has become very expensive.
yeah.
And especially if we're going to the East Coast and the Midwest.
Or lengths.
And lengths, yes,
Yeah.
because everything's tiered pricing now. Just like with FedEx on the ground. I used to be able to ship these for $20. Now it's an average of $50 to $60 just to ship a little 8-foot section with a couple of these inside of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Anything else out here we should take a peek at?
Just a bunch of junk.
A bunch of junk. All right.